I think about code when I'm supposed to be talking to friends. So this is my life. This is what I do. And I want to basically take the next 2 hours and share with you and just work through some JavaScript problems. And I think the best way to do it is to go over the Hangman game. As far as I know, a lot of you guys got through your first week of JavaScript and you guys did the homework and you had the option of doing the psychic game, or yes, we are recording. You'll have this at any point as soon as we publish it. And so we're going to walk through the Hangman game, which was the first week's homework. And I want to just go over a few things before I jump into it. One, this is an interactive experience. I hope you guys ask me questions through Gitter or through chat, or if you want to do it right through Zoom, just unmute your mic and ask me or make a comment right there. But when you're done making the comment, just make sure you mute it up again. And the second thing, what we're going to do, like I said, we're going to walk through the Hangman game, and I want to structure it this way. I want us to get a bird's eye view of what we're making and then zoom in and see the pieces and how the small pieces are a part of the big whole. So we have about six modules to go through, and in about a minute or so, I'm just going to jump into the first one, and I'm going to talk about what I want to do, my thought process, and then I'm going to break you guys out into groups, and you guys are going to basically either code or pseudocode for about 5 minutes, and I'm going to check on each room with you guys in it, and you guys show me what you got. You show me your thought process and everything, and then once that timer's up, I'm going to show you how I would do it, and we're going to work through it together. So, all right, so I'm just going to set a little timer right now, make sure we're on track with everything, and then I'm going to jump into the Hangman game. All right, let's get out of this full screen view here. Exit. Give me a thumbs up if you see my screen okay, or just give me a shout through the chat or through Gitter. You guys see my screen. I'm going to pull up. Oh, another thing before I begin is that I want you guys to post your feedback through this form and at the end of the session, and to fill out this code, and then this code will be a part of it. So just if you click on the link, you'll fill out a form, and then this code right here you'll need that.
Screen is really blurry.
Oh, my screen is very blurry?
Mm-hmm.
Are you looking at remind students to begin and then presentation to fill out How about this? How about now?
We cannot read anything though.
How about now?
No, very low resolution.
Still very low resolution?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. How about now?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Perfect. Yep.
All right, cool. So you guys got the link to fill out the form at the end of the session. And let me just, oh, no, I just set it to optimize my screen again. I do not want to do that ever. Okay. So let's take a look at the chat. A lot better. Great. Cool. Very low risk. Okay, cool. All right. So we're going to like I said, we're going to build Hangman. And before I even sit down and say, okay, I want to build Hangman, I want to think about things that I need and pieces that I know are going to get me started. Because I think the biggest and most daunting thing about JavaScript is where to begin. So right off the bat, let's think about pieces of information that are necessary to a Hangman game. And then let's think about them in terms of variables. So I'll give you an example. We're going to need a word bank, a list of words that we're going to use and choose at random. We're going to need to isolate the chosen word. After it's picked at random, we're going to need to isolate the chosen word. Like that's the word that the user is going to play off for a session of the game. And then, so in terms of those two things, why don't you shout out comment, give me some ideas. What are some pieces of information that are necessary for this game to work? Gosh. An array of words. Okay. User input. Nice. How do I mute myself? In the corner of the screen, you should see a microphone, a mini microphone. Player's name, scorekeeper, array user guess. Nice, nice. How do we mute? So I had wins. Nice. That's actually pretty good. Okay. Game loop, losses. Absolutely. Those are all things. So we're definitely going to need what I would say a loss counter, a win counter, the chosen word, letters in the wrong letters. Nice. What if we'll have the hangman appear a bit? Yeah, so that's Karate, that is right, but that's gonna, I think I would put that inside of a function later. Like that would be some type of game logic that I would use. I would use basically like the information stored in my variables, and then I use that if statement to kind of manipulate those variables to do something. So that's basically what I would do. So right now, so I'm gonna break you guys up into groups, and I'm gonna set it for about 5 minutes, and you guys basically write some variables for me, and think about whether they're gonna like that information should be an array, or a string, or an integer, or a Boolean. Just let me know, and at the end of 5 minutes, I'll show you what I think the most important information for this game would be. I'm gonna set it up now. 91. Cool. So we have more people. Matt, send a message to me through Gitter or chat if you are not in a room. Not assigned, Joe. Assigned to. Okay, so Joey, I just saw you just joined. I just put you into a breakout room. And I want to see broadcasting all. I want to kind of just see how these things work. So. Oh, hi guys. I just joined your chat, your breakout room, and I'm gonna jump out real quick. But what I want you to do is basically talk amongst yourself and decide who's gonna represent your breakout room. So when you guys want to show me a bit of code or ask me a question, just go through like one person, so it's easy and we can keep this thing flowing. Do you guys have any quick questions? No? Okay, cool. So I'm gonna try to. Hey guys, how are you? So you guys are basically in breakout room 2, and so what I told breakout room 1 is that as a group, you guys basically should kind of assign a leader or a vocal point. So when I ask you guys a question or you guys want to show me a bit of code, that person can speak so I can kind of move through each breakout room fairly quickly. So just talk amongst yourself. Who wants to be the vocal point or the advocate for the group? And then when I check back in with you, that person will kind of just talk to me. So all right. So good luck. So if do you guys have any quick questions before I jump out of here? We cool? All right. Good luck, guys.
We're doing, but if you guys tell me, I guess we can do something.
Sure.
Here.
Not a problem. My name is Peter. I'm going to be basically the host for the evening. And what I'll
Yeah. Can you still see it?
Yep.
Ah,
All right, how about we just verbally come up with a list?
okay.
All right, so number of wins, number of losses, number of letters in Word.
Yeah, so number of letters in word.
Hey guys,
Everyone.
hi. This is Peter here. How are you?
All right.
Hey, so what I need you guys to do is basically decide amongst yourselves who's going to be like the group representative. And so whenever I click over to you guys are group 4. You guys, that person can basically speak for the group and kind of show me code so I can go through each group quickly. There's 13 groups of you guys, and it'd be a lot easier just to do it that way if that's cool. So next time I click over to you guys, I'll basically just talk to that person. Do you have any questions or anything?
What are we supposed to be doing exactly?
Okay, so basically we're gonna be, just think about in the big picture about a hangman game, what pieces of information about this game are gonna be necessary throughout the game. So for example, the words that we're gonna be choosing are gonna be playing with are gonna be a piece of information that's gonna be used throughout the game.
Mhm.
Or a win, like we're gonna count up the wins that we have. So that's going to be an important piece of information. So basically make a list of all that stuff and then determine whether it should be like an integer or an array.
So
or
we're sort of like pseudo coding.
Yeah, a lot of pseudo coding. And if you guys are confident enough to say, all right, I know for a fact that this bit of information is an integer, then just write it out. And at the end of each piece, I'm going to slack out my code so you'll have it.
Okay.
Cool. Any other questions?
Anyone else?
No question.
Okay, I'm going to jump over to the next room, and I'll click back with you guys in a few.
All right.
Hey, guys. It's Peter here. How are you?
We're good. Hi.
Oh, hey, what's happening?
It's just Friday. Yeah. The variables.
So, all right. So, I'm going to discuss with you briefly what I discussed with everyone else. So, each group needs a group representative. So, when I click over to you guys to ask you questions and stuff,
Okay.
you guys are, so I basically speak to one person, and no one needs to see my basement. So maybe breakout rooms. Okay. So I got to make this quick. So basically I just need a representative from each group. And when I click over to you guys to check in and see what's up, you're the vocal point of the group. So real briefly, do you guys have any questions or anything?
Not right now.
All right, I'll check back with you in a few.
Yeah, we just have to create the variables. That's it.
Yeah, basically that's what we're going to start with. Talk about variables. Talk about like whether they're integers or arrays or anything like that.
Okay.
All right, cool. Good luck.
Thank you.
Oh, you should save it.
Bless you.
Right, so if you save it as an HTML or what, JavaScript?
You
No,
probably should do JavaScript. Well, you have to save the file as, all right, so yeah,
I'll save it as
hangman.js.
Oh, I have so many oh, yeah. Oh, fine.
You just name it hangman1 or whatever.
Yeah. On my desktop, I'll save.
All right. So now you see the variables.
So I think, so we need some, he said about the variables. Do we need to make the functions too right now?
Nope, we're not going to focus on that yet. But I'm going to jump out of this room so I can get back to everybody. So just talk about variables. Talk about, like I said, whether they're integers or arrays or anything like that.
Okay.
Okay.
So the correct letters will be an array. Letters guessed will be an array. Wrong letters will be an array again.
Exactly. All right. So how do I go? Okay.
Then losses integers.
All right. I just
let them, yeah. No, yeah, it's how many blanks.
Hey guys, real quick, I've been messaging everybody. Are you guys able to hear me okay or no?
Yeah.
Just
All right,
now.
so when I was out of the room, you guys were able to hear me?
Oh, no.
Oh no, so I gotta be in the room. Okay, I'm just working out a kink here. I just want to be able to just message everybody. Okay, so all right, so I'm gonna jump out of here and make sure everything's okay. That whether I'm in a group or not, that you guys can hear me because I'm just messaging you guys and making sure everything's good.
Okay.
All right. Okay. All right, guys, can everyone hear me again? Give me a chat if you guys can hear me. I broke up the rooms for a reason. I think that it's just a lot of people going on, and I couldn't only talk to you when you guys were in the rooms. I couldn't talk to you guys when you weren't in the rooms, and I kind of want to be able to go back and forth. So what I meant. Yeah, we're gonna. Hi guys, can you guys hear me? Can everyone hear me? Just maybe shoot a.
Yes.
All right, good. So I guess we were having some technical issues with the breakout rooms. So it would initially be a cool idea just to have everyone kind of work in groups. So I don't think we should, but I mean, I lost connection for a minute. You guys couldn't hear me when I wasn't in any of the groups. So what we may do is still keep the same structure, is that I'll talk about the problem for a little bit, and then you guys have a few minutes to just kind of work on it yourselves, and then I'll show you how it's done. We're going to X-nay the breakout room thing because it's going to be a mess. So I'm going to jump back and share my screen again, and hopefully we can move forward from there. So what I'm going to do now is, so I hope you guys had some time to think about what necessary pieces of information we need in terms of strings, variables we'll need. But as of right now, I want to keep it moving, so I'm going to show you how it's done. So I'm going to go ahead and create the file that I need.
I don't think we're seeing your screen.
You're not seeing my screen?
No.
All right, cool. All right, I'm glad you told me that. All right, do you guys like a picture of everybody? Or no?
Yeah, I got the same thing. Peter's sharing the screen share. Oh, there you go. I see something.
Now we see something.
Do you guys see yourselves, or do you see my
We see your
I see
terminal.
Screen.
We see your git bash.
you see my get bash? Cool. All right, sweet. All right, that's exactly what we want. Bring that down right here. All right. So first thing to continue, I am going to make a directory that I'm going to be working in. And then I'm going to create my index file. Yeah. If anyone can just mute their screen. Awesome. All right, so this is basically the work file we're going to be working in for the most part. And so I'm going to start thinking about the variables that I need to get this game off the ground. All right, anyone can, I'm going to try to mute this person, anybody who has a microphone going. If you can mute it yourself, it'd be awesome. Mute all. Yes. All right, cool. Can everyone still hear me? Shoot me a message.
Yep.
Nice, nice. All right, cool. Cool. All right, let's get going. So let's think about the variables we need for this game to work. So right off the bat, I'm going to, so it's first thing I'm going to do is give myself a word list. Just in a second. Just a little hiccup. It'll catch up in a sec. So I'm going to put some names in here. And this is my word bank. This is going to be the list I use for play the game. I'm basically picking names at random. Except for Greg. Greg, who created this idea, I'm definitely throwing him in there. So that's one variable I need. The next variable I know I need is going to be called chosen word, and it's going to be an empty string. And what that is, when we select a word at random, it's going to go in here. And we're going to use that basically for each turn of the game. This is going to be the word that is going to be that the user has to guess. And then we're going to have to break it up a little bit in chosen word. And we're going to call this array. And what this variable is going to do is hold that the word that is going to be played on is going to actually break it up into letters, because we're going to have to break it up into letters so the user can guess it, and we can manipulate those letters through the logic of the game. And then the next part, what was that? Anybody have a question or anything? Cool. Yeah, just if you guys have any questions throughout it, just let me know. Just interrupt me. I have no problem doing that. The next variable is called numblanks. And what this variable is going to do is basically, like I said before with the letter in chosen word, it's going to be broken up into letters, and we need to manipulate those. Basically, what this variable is going to do is going to hold the number of letters in the word. For example, Greg is going to be 4. That's kind of what numblanks is going to do. And I know, so we're going to see how all these variables are going to tie into our game and how they're going to have use in a minute. So the next variable we're going to have is blanks and successes. And this is going to be an array as well, because this is going to hold whether the user guessed the letter right or wrong. It's going to be a mix of underscores or letters that we guess that are correct. And the next variable is wrong guesses. And that's also going to be an array. That's going to store, when you guess a letter wrong, that array is going to hold that letter. So in Greg, if you guess P, P's not in the word Greg, wrong guesses are going to hold P. So next one we're going to do win counter equals 0 because we want that in an integer. And as a win counter, if you win the game, it goes up. That's simple use for that one. Loss counter, same function. If you lose the game, it goes to 0. And then the final variable is num guesses. And we're going to set it to 9. And basically, that's the amount of chances you have before the game's over. So if you don't, get the guess the right amount of letters and it's below 9, loss is going to go up. So before we continue on to the next part, does anyone have any questions about that? Does anyone have any feedback, comments, anything like that before we continue? You can unmute or just let me know.
No.
Okay. All right. So then what is num blanks? Num blanks is, we set it to 0, and through the game, it's going to store the amount of letters in numerical terms, the amount of letters a word has. So for example, if the chosen word, oh, did I really? Nice. Thanks for that. Sweet. Oh. You misspelled guesses. Oh, I see it. I see it. Thank you. And so anyway, so num blanks is, so for Greg, num blanks is going to be turned into 4. Nina, it's going to be turned into 5. It's basically going to just hold the number of letters we're going to. What have you found to be the most efficient way to determine the variables when coding? Well, I always kind of think of things from a bird's eye view before I start coding. And when it comes to variables, I say, all right, what are bits of information that I'm going to use throughout the entire program? Like, what is something that's either going to be constant or something that's going to be changed, but something I'm going to be using throughout my entire program? And that's how basically I determined all these variables here. Like, it's not something that I don't want to start off just by writing functions. I don't want to start off by writing logic. I want to take baby steps. And through experience, I found that I need to define the task at hand and then create baby steps to get to that task. So what's the difference in between? Okay. All right. So the brackets, the square brackets that you see, that's an array. The quotes you see are a string. Var chosen word is just one item and holds an array. So chosen word is just going to be one of these items. It's not going to be all of them. It's going to be one of them. So all of these variables would be, yes, they are going to be global. So I want to move forward. I'm glad you guys are involved. I'm going to have this kind of question thing throughout. I deleted one of my names. So I want to talk about the next part now. I can select this. I'm going to send this out through Getter right now so you have it. Cool. So you guys can have that, look at it, play around with it, add your own stuff to it. So now that we have the bits of information that we want to use and manipulate, let's start thinking about chunks of logic, chunks of tasks that we need for this game to run. And if anyone has any ideas off the top of their head about like what kind of function we would need for this game, like we're gonna have a few functions, but like we need a function to do this in the game, or we need a function to do that again. So I want to talk so that's before we break out and you guys kind of sit in pseudocode. I want to talk about that. So I know functions, we're going to need a few functions for this game. And off the top of my head, I know that we're going to need like a start game function, for example. This function is going to execute a bunch of tasks as soon as the screen kicks on, or as soon as the player starts entering opens up the browser. I also know that we're going to need another function that's going to that's going to take in like what the user types in. So with that in mind, maybe just shoot through the chat or through Gitter what kind of functions you think this game is going to need. Register score, user guess handler, yeah. On key, that's absolutely correct. That's one we're going to need. So I think with register score, that's going to be inside one of our functions. Get word, that's actually going to, those are good things, but I think those are more specific. Math.random, we're absolutely going to use that. Absolutely going to use that. Absolutely going to use that. To lowercase, so that's going to be, okay, cool. Check letters, check letters is definitely going to be one of them. Function to replace word to underscores, awesome. Yeah, we're going to use that. For loops, we're going to use those. On key up, we would need a function that would choose a word from the word, absolutely. Math.floor, we're going to use, yes, we're actually going to be using all that stuff. What I have to say about that, though, is that those are actually specific pieces of tasks that we're going to be using. What I'm talking about is actually functions that are going to contain these tasks. And if you're a little confused, don't worry. Think about it this way. We're going to have I'm going to give you, what we're going to have here is a start game function like this. And we're going to have a check letters function like this. We're going to have a round complete function. And then we're going to have the, this guy right here, document on key up function. So for the next 5 minutes, think about everything you guys have been telling me. How are we going to fit those into a start game, into a check letters function, a round complete function, and a document on key up? So for example, the math.floor, we're going to use that with math.random to pick one of our words at random. So in what function would you put that? Would you put that in the check letters function? Would you put that in the round complete function? If everyone wants to shout out the answer offhand, that'd be great before you guys kind of, yeah, awesome, start game. That's exactly when we're going to do it. So for the next 5 minutes, I'm going to just kind of hang in the background hang in the background, and you guys can fire off questions. What I want you to do is basically take those functions that I sent out to everybody and pseudocode tasks, and keep in mind things like the math.random, the if-else statements, things like that, for loops, things like that. So I'm going to start the timer now. Please fire off questions, comments, anything that you would have to do, anything you want to say before I show you how it's done. So like I know like with start game, for example, I'm just going to talk in the background. You guys can listen to me or not listen to me.
So for round complete function, you would reset all the counters and everything correctly? Correct?
Yeah, that could be one of the tasks. Absolutely. That I would like, if you want to pseudocode that, be like step 1, reset all tasks. That's how I would think.
And what is the check letters function, I don't understand. Like it would check the letters that have already been pressed?
Yeah, so that would basically be kind of to compare the letter the user chooses versus the letters that make up the word that the computer chose at random. So how would you break that up into tasks? It might be a little confusing. So, okay, so nice. So win-loss counter, we're definitely going to need that. Honestly, I would put the win-loss counter inside my round complete, because with the win-loss, really one piece of logic, and we just want to display that to the HTML. So also, think about, too, I didn't mention this before, how are we going to display some of this bits of information in the HTML? It's one of the most important things. Inside Instagram, we need the list on that chosen word into it. So Dan says, in start game, we will need to randomly pick word list, assign that chosen word into chosen word, and then we will display the blanks to pay. That's absolutely correct. So, all right. So we got about 3 more minutes. Keep sending your comments, questions, and I'll show you how I would pseudocode all my functions. Check letters. So Marissa says, to check letters, need a function that counts numbers of letters in a word. Yep, that's what I would put. I would kind of put that in the start game. That's what I would do. Nice, yes. Document, get element by ID. Yeah, that's exactly how we're going to display all our information.
Is document get element by ID, is that a function?
Well, it's not a function, but it's a built-in feature of JavaScript that allows us to take like kind of JavaScript logic or something we purely write in JavaScript and add it to the HTML, indicating by its the HTML ID. Nice. All right, so cross off user selected letters. Yeah, that's actually, we're absolutely going to need that. For loop to check the length of the, you need a for loop and check the length of, yes, we are. Absolutely. Check letters. Nice, absolutely. We're just, yeah, I presume we haven't talked about the actual figure we're going to hang yet. Have we? How to display stick? Oh, I hate to break it to you, I don't know how to do that, and I have not incorporated that into this lesson plan. But actually, if you want to Slack me or message me on the side, I would gladly figure that out with you. I have no problem. That'd be so much fun. So need function to replace the underscore if letter is chosen. Yes, we're absolutely going to need that. So I'm going to stop right here. I'm going to stop the timer, and I'm going to show you how it's done. So how I would pseudocode basically the stuff. So we're going to start with our first function. So I'm going to do, so the first thing I want to do with start game is I want to select the word at random. Okay, start is up. Oh, thanks, Sue. As you can see, I like programming, but I'm a terrible speller. We want to break up that random word into letters and replace them with underscores. That's the second thing we want to do. We want to add those underscores to the HTML. And hold on, let me think for a sec. Let's see here, what do we want to do exactly? We want to make sure, actually, I think I need to explain myself a little bit before this next thing. So num guesses as it stands equals 9 right now, and wrong guesses, as you can see, is an empty array. But those are going to be changing throughout the game. And I want to kind of save myself from a headache and debugging later. So what I'm going to do now at step 4 is ensure that at the start of the game, num guesses always equals 9. Because, like I said, if I lose, we start game again, num guesses may equal something else, and I'm going to get a headache, and I'm going to get bugs. So I'm just kind of thinking ahead a little. So, and then I want to make sure blank and successes is empty. And wrong guesses is empty as well. All right, so that's what I would basically, those are the basic tasks that start game would do. That's all I think start game should do. And can't you do that in the restart function too? True, I could. What is blank and successes for? So real quick, Dan, I'm not gonna have a restart function. I think I can have this game restart automatically due to some if-else conditionals, which I'll set up when the round is complete. So when the round is complete, what I'll do is basically run the start game function again, and everything will be reset. Everything will be put back to the way it should be when we start the game. And so, Jesus, what is blank and successes for? Blank and successes is a tongue twister. It's also an array that's going to store a mix of underscores and the letters that the user chose that happen to be correct. At the start of each game, I want to make sure that array is empty, or at least all underscores, so I don't have any mix-up letters when I start the game again. All right, so I'm going to move on to the next function. Tighten this up for a minute. The next one I want to look at is the function check letters. So this is going to be my function. That's going to be a lot of logic going on. Check whether what the user puts in is good for the word or not. So I'm going to break this up into tasks right now. So the first thing, of course, I want to compare the letter the user picks matches any of the letters. Letters in the word. 2, I want a conditional statement that will change blank. Hold on one sec. Let me think for a sec. How exactly? Okay, so that will. So I want to. What is the function as an argument for? So I wrote function. What I meant is basically letter. And I'll take a step back. Check letters is an argument. What that argument is what the user actually types in. We're going to actually test this out in a minute, a little later. So the only way for check letters to work, it means an input from the user. So we're going to set up a function, that document on key up function, to take in a letter and then pass it through this check letters function. If that makes, let me know if that makes any sense. I think it does. So I'm going to move forward. So the next thing I want to do, why is there a function as an argument? Check. Okay, sweet. I want to so the next thing I want to do is I want to set up a conditional statement that will determine if the letter does exist in the word, then we want to do something. If it doesn't, do something else. So I want to determine the next thing, I think I can tackle that. So this if-else statement will kind of basically push either push a letter to the wrong letters array, or it'll push to the blanks and successes array. So that's what this if else is going to do. And the final thing we wanted to do, if the user is wrong, we want to increase the num guesses variables by 1. All right, so I'm going to just jump right into this next function that we need. So the round complete function. This is going to basically fire off.
Complete your comment.
Oh, someone have a question?
Nothing.
Okay. What are we going to do on a round complete function? So I think this one is fairly, what the other functions aren't doing is adding any information to the HTML. So in my round complete function, that's where I'm going to do a bulk of that work. It's going to update the HTML with letters that are in the word. It's going to update the HTML with S's. We have left. It's going to update the HTML to show the wrong guesses. And 4, it's going to determine whether the user won the game or not. And please forgive me, I see a million spelling errors in my code. So, okay. So that's that one. And we have one more function, and that's going to basically be our document key up function. And this is going to do 2 things. First thing it's going to do, it's going to take in the letter that we type in. 2, it's going to pass it through the check letter function. All right, so that's how I would pseudocode each and every bit of this. Game. So the rest of, I guess, this whole video is pretty straightforward. What we actually need to do is start coding each one of these functions. And what I want to do is basically code each one of these functions one at a time. So, so let's talk about real quick about, you can shoot me through chat what you think, how we're going to do each one. So I think step 1, select a word. We're going to use that math.random to go through our word list and pick one. So pick one. And then step 2, I want to break up that random word into letters and replace them with underscores. So there, I think I'm going to use like a for loop to just iterate over each word and replace it. So I'm going to set the timer for 5 minutes. Think about how you would actually code each one of these tasks. Think about like for loops. Think about math.random. Think about if conditionals, things like that. And in about 5 minutes, I'm going to check back and I'm going to show you how it's done. And like I said, along the way, you can always chat me, Slack me, do everything. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'm going to do that right now. If you kind of want to think ahead, too. Cool. Yes, Dan, that's how you would definitely do that. Yes. Letter chosen word. Awesome, Dana. Yeah. So I didn't even talk about that, nor did I really think about it. The words we're picking are going to be a string. So dot split would totally make them into an array, so we can access each letter as an individual. Beautiful, beautiful. So I think I'm not going to fully, I'm going to give you guys 2 more minutes to kind of think about your own stuff, but I know step 4, the best way to tackle it is if I just kind of for loop the length of chosen word and have the key up letter. For loop length of chosen word and have if function to compare the key up letter. Yeah, we're actually going to do that in our check letters function. So yeah, oh yeah, Dana, yes, that's, so we're absolutely going to do that. Yeah, so that for loop right there, Dana, it's going to absolutely be in our start game function. So we're going to take hold of num blanks, and we're going to set it to the, after we break up the word into letters, num blanks is going to be, like I said, the amount of letters in a word, and then that for loop is going to iterate over it. And using that, we're going to push these underscores to replace those letters in the blanks and successes array. We're actually going to, not replace, but create the blanks and successes array. So just to keep it moving, I'm going to stop it, the timer, and I'm going to start coding so we can get through everything. So the first thing, I'm going to actually start with number 4, task number 4, because I think it's just really easy, is just to copy and paste these things in there. Just like I said, blank and successes needs to be an empty array. And wrong guesses. This is going to save me time writing it out, and of course getting spelling errors. So now what we want to do is we want to grab our words list and do this math.for math.random times word list length. And I want to set this to a new variable basically. So I'm just going to call this chosen word because, and I want to just make sure that I have everything. This is actually going to be called chosen word. I'm going to save everything. Save my HTML. What does math.for do? Okay, so what math.random does automatically is take a number, and yes, it does it by random, but it adds all these decimal places to it. .for just kind of takes out those decimal places. So I'm going to open this up in the browser where you guys can see. So we have nothing going on in our game yet, but that's okay. But in our console, we don't have anything. And why don't we? This is a silly mistake on my part. Why don't we have anything, guys, showing up? I have a console log, but why don't we have not calling the function? Dan, you nailed it. That's exactly it. I'm going to put this over here because my wife. So I'm going to save it. Hit refresh. And we got Greg showing up. So that's one of the words in there. I hit refresh. You got Nina. So on and so forth. All right. So moving forward, let's tackle the next thing. We got this down. We actually did this one as well. So what is break up that random word into letters and replace them with underscores. So Dana had it right. We're going to need a for loop that's going to push these underscores in. So what I'm thinking we do is this. I'm going to delete this. As much as I love my console log, we don't need it right now. I'm going to do a new variable called chose is chosen word. Not new variable. Split. That this is going to do is basically break them up in each letter into an array. So, for example, Greg, each letter in the word Greg will be its own item in an array. So that's what that's going to do. And then num blanks is going to be this guy, chosen word length. So that's going to grab that. And what I'm going to do here, set up that for loop from before. Not calling the function. Oh, thanks, Dana. Sorry about that. All right, and now we'll just do that blanks and successes dot push, and I want to actually see this in action. So let's do this. Blanks and successes, save it, and I'm gonna refresh this and see what happens. So I have an empty array that has 0 things in it. Why does it have 0 things in it? What am I doing wrong? Can anyone tell me what I'm doing wrong? Just by basically looking at this section right here. What's going on? Why am I not getting any words showing up? Marissa, so yeah, blanks and successes has been defined. We got it. Where do we got it? We have it up here. So it's an empty and array here. And then I'm going to actually double nums. So Dan, missing misspelled letters and chosen word pair. I'm actually going to check that, Maggie. I'm going to check if everything's spelled right. Oh, I have a misspelling that has to do with it. Chosen word. Cool. So let's actually console log all this stuff. Let's see where we're at here. See if we have the information properly. Num blanks. I'm gonna hit it again. All right, so I got something. I got 1 underscore Darian. That's my word. That's my chosen word. But it's coming up with 1. So what? Letters and chosen word. Chosen word. So what I think is actually going to happen is I need quotes in here for this thing to work properly. Yeah, Dan, you got it. Nailed it. Exactly. So let's try that. I may be still wrong. Joanna, semicolons. I know it's a big convention for JavaScript. I know it's silly, but sometimes you don't even need them. Sometimes you want to put a semicolon in, sometimes you don't. I would say the best place to put a semicolon, if you're definitely going to use a semicolon, is basically at the end of like a function or something. For these like small things, sometimes it works. I've only known through my experimentation that sometimes semicolons don't actually have any outcome on whether something works or not. I know it's crazy. So now we have everything. Lou, 3 letters, number 3, and we have them all set up properly. So we got that, and now what do we want to do? Let's set it up where actually we have some stuff showing up in our HTML, and that's our 3rd bit right now. So I'm gonna put an X next to underscores. We got that going on. So what I want to do now is jump over to my HTML. and words left. So let's see here. So I like to make this, I'm gonna do something like this. Word blank, and this is gonna hold all our blanks. And then what we wanna do is set up guesses left so the user can see how many guesses they have. That's where we're gonna define at the start of the function. We'll put guesses left colon. So after I console all this up, I'm going to do document s get element ID. I think I'm spelling that right. Guesses left. Pump that in there. Inner HTML equals what? Can anyone tell me what this guesses left? What variable this is going to be? Yeah. So what variable is going to be at the end of this equal sign? It's one of these guys up here. Dan nailed it. Num guesses. Nice, Dan. Nice. Num guesses. So that's going to be that one. And we're going to do our other one. Get. Okay. I think that's it, right? Nice. Inner HTML equals. Can you tell me what this one's going to equal? Anybody? No. Word bank. Close. Yeah. It's going to store our blanks and successes. It's gonna so this bit right here, these guys, these underscores, we want them to show up in the HTML. So what I'm going to do, if I can get it. Yep, I'm going to save it. Open it up. Refresh. Wish I had some fun stuff happen. So we got an error. Can anybody tell me line 42? Can anyone tell me what I'm doing wrong? The quote marks. Let me ask you, Ben. What are we quoting for what bit you're spelling? In word blank. Oh, I'm gonna try that right now. I think that may help. Let's save that. Let's see here. So line 42 is my issue. You're right. Let's see here. Inner HTML. What am I doing? Oh, okay. So, all right. So we got. Let me try. I'm gonna put this up here. So I have word dash bank dot inner HTML document get element missing in length. I could put it there, but like I said, Victor, it kind of worked without the semicolon. It's good practice. I always put semicolons in. But I think there's something going on. What did it say? Line 42. It was like, cannot set property, internet. So I'm going to check my HTML. I have a feeling it's a problem with my HTML. So what do I have? ID guesses left. So I'm going to go back to my logic. Line 40. Word bank. Yeah, that's what it says. My variable is null. So what I might do is just, sometimes my computer is a little wonky, so I'm just going to refresh it. Oh, so it worked this time. So it just wasn't taken in my changes. So this stuff all popped up. So we did exactly what we wanted it to. It's not exactly though. It's close, but can any tell me what, I know this may be a little difficult, but like, why are these commas popping up? Like, and why does it kind of look so wonky? Can anyone tell me why the blank and successes bit in the HTML looks wonky? All right, guys. I'm gonna actually have to answer this one because I want to keep going. So if we do .join, hit refresh, it's gonna look good. Well, it should look good, but probably. Yep. Thanks. All right. So cool. So all right. So that's it for this function. And what we should do now is let's take. I'm gonna give you 3 minutes. Basically 3 minutes to go over this check letters function. So kind of think about it and tell me how would, in terms of code, what you would do to, actually before we do check letters, we probably have to do this one first, the document on key up. So this should be fairly simple. Take 2 minutes to go over what should be in this on key function right here. It's gonna take in what the user types in, and it's going to pass it through the check letter function. Raymond should be spelled event. Oh, you're absolutely right. You guys are just basically correcting all my spelling errors tonight. So, all right, just I want to keep this flowing. You guys can still comment on what you guys think should be put in there, but I'm going to just jump right into it because it's not a very big task at hand here, and I want to get to the check letters. Can you please paste the function? Oh, yes, absolutely, Andy. All right, so let's get back into it. I just put that up into Gitter, and let's see here. So what I'm going to do is take this, like first task is put what we type into a variable. So letter guess equals send me your group so I can receive your slice. Wait. Oh, that's the end of one. Yes, yes, yes. That's awesome. That's exactly what we are gonna. That's exactly what we're gonna write.
Smart code.
Nice. Thanks, Ben. And so what I want to do next is going to pass this to the check letter function. So I did say before, this is taken in an argument letter. So that's basically what I'm doing. Paste that there. And paste that there. So everything we write is going to be used in this function that we're about to write. So I'm just going to say this is the letter we type, so we keep track. All right, so let's just jump into the next thing. If you guys have any questions about that, just like I said, just shoot it through Getter, shoot it through chat. I'm okay with that. I don't understand why. Okay, anyway. So let's talk about this check letters event function here. Does anyone see updated function in Glare? Doesn't see. Okay. Oh shoot. Oh, I may not have sent it. Let's try this. All right, I just sent it through. No problem, Maggie. All right, so let's go over this check letters event. This is going to be our big guy. This is our big kahuna. So I want to make sure we go over everything. So can you tell me, compare the letter the user picks and make sure it matches any of the letters in the word. So how are we going to tackle that? What goes through your mind when you think of something like that? We need a loop. You are absolutely right. We are going to need a for loop, and that will iterate over all our letters. So let me just check something real quick. Okay. Index of char. Okay, index of char. Interesting, interesting. I'm not going to use that for this function, but index of char, so like you're saying basically use kind of like a for each loop or something like that. Is that what you're saying, Juan? Okay. You know what? That's pretty interesting. I would use index of char basically when I have a complex object, something that has keys and values. For example, like if I had an object where it said name, or like without going into too much detail, if I had an object called Peter, and inside the object it was name, Peter, age, 30, state, New Jersey, I would, to iterate through that stuff, I would use index of char. So for like less complex information, I would use a for loop. So yeah, Marissa, okay, so you're close. Letters and chosen word dot length. So what I set up actually in our first function is basically that. So Marissa, I would just go over num blanks. I would use num blanks because it's exactly what you said. So I'm gonna jump right into coding that. So first thing we want to do is set up a for loop, like I said, equals I is less than num blanks, like you said. Then I plus plus, classic I plus plus, can't beat the I plus plus. So now we have our for loop, and that's how we're going to basically tackle step one. And then step two, I want a conditional statement to determine if the letter the user picked is in the word. So how would you kind of go about that? How would you set up that if-else conditional? What parameters would you want to put in there? Feel free to send me your thoughts on Gitter. I love saying Gitter. I always want to say GitHub. If chosen word length equals. Okay. All right, so not exactly, Alex. Letter and chosen word length is basically going to give us a number. And what we want to do is match letters up. So letter equals, oh, okay. Oh, so Yeah, so Dana and Dan, Alex, have the right kind of look at it. It wants to match what we want to put in versus the words, the letters at hand. So I'm going to basically write this right here. I'm going to write what they're saying right now. Chosen word, I, triple equals. Gotta be super careful. You know, a lot of people are hacking our hangman game, so we gotta do triple equals. So inside here, I'm gonna go ahead and explain this. What I'm gonna do right now is set up a variable, letter in word, and set it to false. And when inside this if statement, I'm gonna just say letter in word equals true. Now let me explain myself. Why I just wrote what I wanted to write is because I want to set up task 3 to work. And I think the best way to get task 3 to work is if we set up another if-else conditional outside of our for loop that is determined whether letter in word is either true or false. So what is the letter is uppercase? Would this statement work? Juan, what line are you talking about? Are you talking about line 61? Oh, I'm glad you said something. Know what I slipped in there? I should have explained it. Look at right here. I said it's a lowercase. So no matter what the user types in, it's always going to be lowercase. So it's good. And up here in our word bank, all these are lowercase. So should we? I don't think we should run into that issue, but I'm glad you brought it up. Okay. So moving forward, would the letter guessed variable be used there? Used here. Letter guessed. I'm not entirely sure. Would the letter guessed variable be used here? Oh, okay. So basically, letter guessed has taken the form of letter here. See how down here, letter guessed. That's what we typed. That's what we typed in, and we're going to be passing it through this function. So if before actually, what I'll do right now is I'll show you something. Commenting all this stuff out real quick, and I'm gonna be like, we are in the check letters function. And I'm going to comma. So on key up, it's going to pass what we just wrote into this function. So I'm just going to refresh. Hopefully we get no errors with this little test we're doing. I don't really trust this thing, my browser right now. Refresh it properly. Be like that. Be like that. Don't refresh on me. So I'll just open it up again. Inspect. And if we're passing the letter into our check function, our check letters function, we should see that little message I just wrote up. Hey, we are in the check letters function, letter A, W. Nice. So we are now have total control of what we type in inside this function. So I'm going to delete that. Hopefully that answers your question, Marissa. Hopefully you can kind of see what's happening. So, all right, so moving forward, I'm going to set up a if statement that's going to do task 3 for us. So I'm going to write letter in word. That's this if statement is assuming if letter in word has been changed to true from this for loop. Inside it, what I'm going to do is basically set up another for loop. And I'm going to do num blanks again. And I'm going to do I++, and I'm going to hit this. But now I'm going to basically set up the same thing again. I'm actually literally just going to copy and paste this inside this for loop. But instead of doing this, what I'm going to do now, blanks and successes, I equals letter. So what I'm basically doing is with this for loop, I'm giving myself the ability to run this if statement. This if statement's only going to run if letter matches any of the chosen words, and it's going because it's going to switch it to true. And if this is true, it's going to run this for loop. So if you have any questions about that, that might be a little confusing. Just shoot me a message. So this else statement is basically going to assume whether the letter we guessed is not inside our chosen word. So from there, I'm going to do num guesses minus minus, and I'm going to do wrong guesses dot push letter. So it's going to appear in a letter. It's going to appear in the screen as a letter we used, but it's not right. And the number of terms we have is wrong. I mean, it's going to be less. So let's talk about that for a second. Do you guys have any questions, comments, anything like that? If you actually want to test if this thing works, I think we should do that because I'm not entirely sure. Here we go. What I think we should do, I'm going to come up with a log here. Points to successes. So here we go. And I'm going to just log this. All right, let's do this. Same letter. Oh, good, Ben. Let's think about this for a second because we may want to alert something, but if the letter, I think if we type in a letter that we've already done, it's already going to appear. I want to check if we type, if what we're doing, if we type in, for example, like the same letter twice, if it's wrong, it's going to show up in the wrong guesses list again. So if it doesn't do that already automatically, let's set something up. Or let's, what I would say, Ben, we can just maybe talk on the side and kind of figure something out because that you raise a really good point. I'm going to check here. I got this stuff. Console, here we go. A, nope, that's not gonna do anything for me. So A inside our check letters function. So what does that one mean? I should have made a better message. So okay, so the letter A is inside of our word. Let's try the letter P. This is in our wrong guesses. So I'm gonna type letter P again, Ben, and let's say put P in there again. It puts it in twice. So what I may try to do real quick here is what I would do. I'm just going to pseudocode this, Ben, because I want to keep pushing forward. To check if a letter is already in the wrong guesses array, what we want to do is set up an if-else conditional that will run a for loop that will iterate over all the letters and then use the if-else to check if it already exists. So that's what I would do, Ben. Real quickly, check if we are using the same letter over and over again. I hope the user kind of realizes that if it's not in the wrong guesses column or it's not in our replace one of our blanks, then don't use it again. But you bring a very good, interesting addition to the game, which I think would make it a little bit more robust. So I think we have it. I think that's it. That's our big line. That's our big, I know I said this was our biggest function, but I think we got it. I think we nailed it. So And does anybody have any comments, questions, things like that? We can go over because where's this? Okay, here it is. All right, so I think we have some time. So why don't you guys take about 5 minutes? I know we didn't actually do this before with the previous steps. Why don't you guys take 5 minutes and kind of brainstorm some ideas how we would tackle this last function, this round complete function. You have the task at hand here on how to do it. So why not tell me what you would do? Maybe through chat or through Gitter on how you would tackle this. Little timer. Come on. Do this. Peter, thank you so much for your help. If you could, can you please get her the remaining function? Sure, Rob. Not a problem. Absolutely. No problem. No problem, Rob. So Armando, the round would end for sure if guesses left drops to 0. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's Dana, Armando, you're absolutely right. That's what we're gonna tackle in this function. And Dana, we're also gonna we're gonna set up our win count in this final function. Yep, loss counter, win counter, that's all being set up. Oh yeah. So, like I said, so I think with this one, since I see update the HTML, I know we're going to see like document get element by ID a bunch. And then, and then if you ever see like in plain English, like whether the user won the game or not, in my mind, I always think of like, well, that's clearly like a decision the computer needs to make. So that's an if-else statement. Whenever it comes to like type of like logic, making decisions, I always jump to if-else conditions. Num guesses. Let's see. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, I didn't think about that, but I think you're right. Yeah, I mean, that's how we're going to use num guesses basically to determine the state of num guesses, whether the person won the game or not. I think we'll actually probably handle more it'll handle if the person lost. That's what I really think. Num guesses, because in my head I'm thinking if num guesses equals 0, then you lost and you need to try again. So here we go. I want to check something. Citation. All right. Cool. All right. So, I mean, have you guys may I ask, you guys thought about some stuff? You know, you guys got to have a game plan in your head about how you want to conquer that. Just click yes, yep, nope, nope, I don't know what I'm doing. What would you say would be the best way to determine it? I joined rather late, apologies. If blank success has no underscores, I guess one way. Okay. No, Armando, that's a very good question. So so I would definitely set up an if-else statement, and that's going to be my big guy. That's going to be my first condition for my if statement. So I would check if the letters in chosen word equal blank and successes, then you won. And then I would increase the win counter and alert to the user that they won. And then I would basically set up an else if going after the num guesses. I'm sorry, I didn't read this. If guess one way would be checked is present in the array. So anyway, like I was saying, I think that's how I would go about it. And then the if-else statement would have that num guesses, which Dana brought up earlier, as equals 0. Then, sadly, you lost the game and lost Hangman and should rethink your life. Just kidding. I'm more of a Sudoku guy myself, so I would, in the future, I'd love to make a Sudoku game. Anyway, we have about 20 seconds left in the timer before I show you everybody how it's done. Any more questions or anything like that? Comments? Right. All right, so I'm just going to jump right into it. Let's tackle this first thing. So it's going to update the HTML with the letters that are in the word. So I'm going to do my document classic get element by ID, target word blank, exit chat, dot inner HTML equals blanks and successes. The next thing I'm going to do is tackle number 2, document get element by ID, guesses left, dot inner HTML equals num guesses, and then words I got wrong. That document then get element ID wrong. I'm gonna call this ID wrong guesses. Dot inner HTML equals wrong guesses. All right. Message me. Do you think we're good to go? Do you think if I fire up the browser, we'll see everything that I just wrote for 1, 2, and 3? And just shoot me a message through through chat. Gotta modify it. Yes, you're absolutely right, Andy. Do you call the function anywhere? Armando, good question. Steven, you're right. Jesus, you're right. We're not going to get it. So round complete is only going to run, I think, it's only going to run and do its thing if we do the document on key up function. So we're going to put that in there. So Armando, that's where I'm going to put it. I don't want round to complete to run randomly. So if I put it outside of this document on key up function, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't want to know. I may mess up my whole game. So let's check it out. All right, so I call on my function. Well, nothing looks good. I have console here, Darian sync. So, all right, so I don't have anything. Let's see, I press A. Nothing's updating right. Nothing's working for me. Why is that? Why? Can anyone tell me why nothing's working for me? Like nothing I just wrote basically is working. I'm gonna delete some of these messages. Why you guys tell me? Need to pass in the variable as param in the round complete function. Just let's think about it. I mean, so Dan, what kind of variable do you want to pass through this? I don't have it set up here. What information is round complete looking for that's not living inside the function? Missing wrong guesses in the HTML. Let's check. Andy, when you're right, you're right. I need to set that up. I did not do that. Let me do that right now. So I'm going to go, what is it called? Is it wrong guesses? Okay, here we go. Wrong. Copy this bit right here. Guesses left. Do something. Let's see that. Let's see what's happening here. These guys. Let's see. Open up a game. Wrong guesses. Missing wrong. Okay. So I got wrong guesses here. And I'm going to inspect it. See what's happening. The answer is Lou. I'm going to type in the letter P and see what happens. Oh, not like that. P. So we got P here. K is not in the word Lou. L is, so that pops up nice. O, U. So we have the game working. We got a lot going on. It's not finished yet, but the basic functionality of the game is doing its thing. So we ran into this issue before where it has these unnecessary commas. Can anyone tell me how we get rid of those commas and how we're going to get this to work properly again? I kind of fixed the issue before, but I want to see. Join. Nice, 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 nice. That is it, sir. You are absolutely right. I'm going to put these on both these guys. So, sweet, sweet. Okay, so now that we have this right, I just want to check it out and see what's happening. I'm going to open this up in my browser again. My wrong guesses, check. And I'm going to type in Lou. So L, yep, the big commas are gone. U, putting G, G's not there. G, G. And you're right, man, we got to take care of this multiple letter thing. So I typed in the word and nothing happened. So can someone tell me, we talked about it before, how are we going to set up this if-else conditional to alert the user that they won or not? How are we going to tackle this? So I'll leave that in your hands. You guys can tell me, what are we going to do? It's our final piece of the game. Let's see what happens. Run a for loop over the guest letters. Okay, Steven, let me ask you this. Let me think about this. So if the letters are there, do not print. All right, Steven, so we actually did that already. We already did all that. We did that in our check letters function, and we have it set up so it prints on the screen. So I think we actually could take it even down a step. We don't even need a for loop on that one. Let's just think about like some conditional logic, like if this is true, then do this. That's basically what I'm looking for, because that's what I think is the best way. You check if the index of the array isn't number 1, right? The chosen letter, okay, -1. Dina, I want to say you're right, but I want to explore Armando's point real quick. Armando, let's think about this. So tell me, like, what I just want to know your thought process behind it, to be honest, because I think this is interesting. Your answer or your question, I think it's interesting. So why don't you tell me what you think, where you're getting this idea from? Armando. There's a function in Java that tells you the index of an array of an entry start. Oh, no worries. Sorry, on my end too. There is a function in JavaScript that tells you the index of an entry. Okay, yep. I'm trying to remember the exact thing, but if you ask, tell me the index of A, that isn't. Oh, I know what you're talking about. So I'm going to write it out real quick. So like, for example, blanks, since it says index of, I guess the, what is it, letter, or like the thing we guess is greater than or equal to 0, then we do something. Yeah, I you know what, I actually use that at my work. I don't want to go off on a little bit, but that's actually how a lot of like data filters are set up. So if you have a large bit of data and you wanted to scan the entire data, you would set up something like this, and letter in this instance would be what the user types in. So it's awesome. It's a really powerful feature of JavaScript. Armando, thanks for bringing that up. That's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. I wouldn't use it for this game because it's pretty basic, but keep that in mind in the future. I use that a lot at work. I'm not gonna lie. That's pretty sweet. So, I just want to. So I'm gonna scroll up a minute. So Dana had the right answer as the best way to go about it. Yep, that's what we want. I thought I only thought find one occurrence. Yeah, that's what it does. So that's what I mean. Like, for example, that's what I was saying. So I'm gonna just go back a minute. Control Z. So in this instance, letter is basically the word we type in. If it's greater than greater than equal to 1. So whatever we type in is going to scan everything in blanks and successes, and we can set up something where it, like, we'll do something like this. The syntax is not entirely correct, but then we can just like output like console log letter, or we can output the information. So that's how, like I said before, with index of, I mean, I use that at work, and I'm iterating through like thousands of lines of data, and that's how I basically set up like a search feature to filter through that stuff. And I wouldn't necessarily use it for this bit, but that's something to keep in mind for the future. I'm glad you guys know about that. You guys have learned a lot. That's some pretty advanced stuff. So I guess I'm going to go with what Dana said before, with letters in chosen word equals blanks. Blanks and successes, and then inside here, so this is determining if we won or not. So I'm gonna do win counter ++ and do that fun thing. You win, and then I'm gonna do document get element by ID, and I'm gonna do win counter. I'm gonna set that ID up later. I already know that I need to do that. Equals win counter. So the else statement, this is how I think this should work. I think this is pretty straightforward. We're about to test it in a second. I'm gonna set up a else statement that's gonna go over, like we discussed before, the num guesses. And if that equals 0, unfortunately you lost. So then I'm just going to do document get element. I'm going to print this to the ID loss counter inner HTML equals our loss counter, or our loss counter plus plus, because I'm going to do like this. Boom, boom. I think that's going to work. And then alert. You don't have any more guesses. I don't want to be mean. I don't want to say, hey, you're a loser, or you lost. I just want to say you don't have any more guesses. And so to bring it back in full, before we test it, I want to do this. Game start function. I want to run these functions, this function inside our if-else conditionals. So no matter what, whether you win or lose, you have the opportunity to play again. So that's ultimately, that's why I broke everything down to functions, because I wanted to do that. That's the big reveal. So let's test it out. Let's check it out. Who can tell me before I fire it up, what am I doing wrong? You have to pre-increment loss counter. Andy, that's right again. One, real quick, loss counter, we have that set up all the way at the top. Where is it? Loss counter, it's set to 9. So we're only ever really using that if we lose. So that's going to be happen here. So it's going to be, I'm incrementing it up. Oh my gosh. My enter button's not working. Okay, here we go. That's what I would do. And now I'm going to set up my loss counter to be inside my HTML. I want to thank you guys so far for basically correcting my mistakes as we go along. You guys are a great help in actually getting this thing together. So I just want to say that real quick before I continue. Wins. Losses. Loss. So I'm going to logic. Okay, cool. So I think everything's right. So I'm going to test this right now and see if everything's copacetic. So, all right, so we got wins, losses all set up right here. So let's just play. I think everything should work, right? I mean, we should just play. L, wrong guess. P, wrong guess. N, A, right guess. J, wrong guess. G, nope. S, E. Okay, so cool, but it didn't work. Everything we set up just did not work. So let's take a look back at our code. Why didn't this do its thing? Man, was it set up too far an alert right? I'm on it. Yeah, I have these alert win right here, and alert you don't have any more guesses. Round complete. I have round complete to start. What's going on here? Am I writing something right? Hold on, let me check if there's a console issue. Maybe there's a can count for the double E. Let's see here. I don't know. That's quite possible. Oh, I think I know why. So let's take a look here. I'm going to console log letters. Letters in chosen word. I'm going to check what we are going to be checked, like the information we want into this. So look at this right here. I just want to show you because I think I know why this is happening. I'm going to refresh. Got Lou again, classic Lou, L. So see these two arrays at the bottom? I'm gonna actually make this big. So I'm gonna put this over here. See the array Lou and then the array L? Just write in the chat if you're following me, because I'm gonna keep talking. So I'm gonna type in O. See how this updated O, then U. This is all matching up, but the if statement is not checking if these things are correct. Since it's two different arrays, that's not going to work for an if statement to work. So can anybody tell me how we're going to take these, how we're going to turn these things, two arrays, into bits of data that the if else conditional can work off of? Didn't count for the doubly join. Dan, you know, yep. Got it. Let's see if it's join, because so join basically brings, so split takes a string, brings it to an array, and join takes an array and brings it into a string. So yes, that's it. We're gonna do our so we got Greg, having Greg. We should all thank Greg for putting this thing together. He's did an awesome job. He's an awesome he's just awesome he's awesome at what he does. He's an awesome manager, awesome tutor, awesome student, awesome friend, all around. So Greg, oh, it's not working. We got Greg matching up. You win. Nice. So now, and the game restarts. So now we have Nina. You see Nina's 5 letters. So I'm going to type in K. I want to lose this game. I want to show you what it's like to lose. V, B, P, F, I, R, Q. Oh, so we have something interesting here. Oh, I have 1 guess left. Let's see. That's, you don't have any more guesses left. And then it restarts. Oh, but we have S, Q. So we have this little bug thing. Does anybody want to take the next few minutes and figure out what this is? Because I don't know. I don't know what that is. See this little box right here? Why does that appear when we're done? Why does that little box appear? Can somebody tell me? Boy, we got some bugs going on. We have a little bug. Ultimately, our game works, but we have this little box here. I don't even know what it is. Let's refresh. Did it count when you click the mouse at the end of the previous game? Is it a number value? I didn't see the get replaced the last one. Show your ID. Okay, I will. I will. So this is my logic right now. Show the HTML. Okay. When you lost guesses 1 to 8, not 9. So yeah, so Jesus, whenever I get a thing wrong, it'll jump from 8 to 9, and that did work. I did see that. So I'm gonna play it again real quick and just see if the issue persists, because I don't know what's happening. Oh. K, L, H, E, R, I, E, Q, Z, Z, X, Losses should be at 1, not 0. Oh, you're right. Okay. Good point. So I already know how to do that. We'll set that to Mondo. Well, yeah, something. So these wins. Okay. So we have fresh. I'm gonna hit A. So I got everything wrong. You didn't win. The win goes to losses. My wrong guesses does not clear out. So it didn't look like I did. Can anyone tell me real quick why guesses this didn't empty out when the new game started? We didn't empty the array. Nice, Armando. Reset function. Yep. So here we go. What is this? Wrong guesses. I'm gonna put that right in my start game. Oh, that's all wrong. It looks like it's there, but I'm gonna try something here. Refresh. Hopefully, it was already in there, so I don't understand. Okay, so it's not emptying at the restart of the game. Maybe if am I running start game again if we lose? I'm gonna try that right now. Yeah, I have. If what we could do is just maybe brute force it and just kind of go wrong guesses. Let's see here. Let me scan. My logic here. I'll join. Brown complete. So I have that. Join. What I'm going to do. So I'm going to put that right in there and see if that kind of just handles the issue. Line 115. Oh. Can we run it through JSLint? Yeah, absolutely. I don't have that extension. I don't use it generally in my workflow. I used to when I was, I used it about a few years ago. Just when I was getting things up and running, check for bugs. So now, awesome. Thank you, sir. I got it right here, but thank you. Unexpected. So instead of var, so line 6 is that 6.1? 6. So I'm gonna ignore these comment things. Console. Oh, so it is actually checking for my semicolons. Unexpected 4. I'm looking for anything that's going to tell me. Anything that's going to tell me why it's not refreshing. I really think that should do it. I put set wrong guesses array to be empty at the start of the game. So anytime the game is refreshed, it should, in fact, set the array to empty. Fourth. Does it matter? You know what? I was just trying to check it for safety's sake. I don't really know why that would matter as well. I just want to just maybe I'm just kind of just playing around with it, seeing how things work. So I'm going to. Where did my logic go? Maybe if I give it a hard bar, like if I just redefine the variable as that's not a bad try. I mean, let's give that a whirl. I mean, I actually think that may actually work. But I want to check if the wrong guesses array is actually being cleared. So it may not. So this basically, if I do something like what Dan's saying, is do this, it'll clear it out in the HTML. But it may not clear out the array. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to console log this. So I have wrong guesses. So as it says, this is wrong guesses in start game. So hey. All right, so now I want to scroll all the way down. And let me just do it this way. So yeah, I guess it refreshed it. So I guess it was just sticking around in the wrong HTML. But yeah, I think, man, you nailed it, man. Good job. You got that last bug. Can you update the code? Yeah, Alex. But yeah, Dan, good job, man. Good call. So I'm glad we did that. So does anyone? I think we got it. Does anyone have any questions, comments? Like I know I slacked, put in Getter. Please fill out that form. Let me know how I'm doing. It should be, Ben. That's hilarious. You're absolutely. So yeah, go into the Getter, post what you think about me, and let me know what's going on. You have the code right there. I'm gonna put this into Getter, and like I said, you guys have any last minute questions? Just shoot me a message. Let me know what's going on.
Hey guys, it's Greg. Can everybody hear me?
Hey, Greg.
Hey,
Peter, I wanted to thank you. I know I speak for everybody. We really appreciate what you did tonight. I thought it was awesome. I loved it. You know, coding is not easy, and I loved watching you work through the bugs, and I loved the interaction with everybody. This was a great session. I want to do more of these.
Me too. Absolutely. I'd be totally down.
So next week we have
Greg? Greg? You cut out on me?
You hear me?
Nope, you're back.
Okay, I don't know. Did you hear me talk about next week?
No, I think you cut out during that bit.
Okay, so next Sunday, and we'll be sending out the announcement this week. Next Sunday night, we're going to do a UI UX session.
Cool.
And I think you guys are all going to be amazed at this guy named Fergal Halligan. He's a UI UX engineer. He's been at it for many years, and he will take UI UX to places that I certainly never even considered. I think you're going to be amazed. So keep a watch out for the announcement on next week's Trilogy TV on UI UX. Okay,
Greg,
thanks for everything.
That sounds fun. I can't wait to watch that.
Okay, guys, please fill out the form. I just put it up in the Gitter. And thanks for showing up. And I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. Again, Peter, thanks for everything. That was
You're
awesome.
welcome, Greg. You guys have a great night. I love coding with you. I just put up everything, all my code so far in Gitter. I'm going to put the HTML up as well, and you guys should be good to go. So have a great night, everybody.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care, everyone.
Thanks a lot, Peter.
You're welcome. Very welcome. Good night.
Thank you.
You're welcome.